Okay, check 212. So this is the first of the many lectures that we're going to do, and what we're basically going to do is just talk about the things that we learn chapter by chapter, section by section, and see how we go from there. And then, I think it's best if you just learn how to do it by, writing down what you know. So this is going to be cell bio intro. So this is the beginning. Let's go. So how do we start? So when we start from the very beginning of how this all happened, and we can't get into that without talking about the cells. So basically what we're going to talk about the three major divisions that are in the tree of life. And we know this from Bio 106, 107, there's bacteria, archaea, and eukaryotes. But what is the difference between these? Mostly the things that are in bacteria and archaea are prokaryotes, and the many features of prokaryotes is that they have a nucleoid. That is something that the eukaryotic cells do not have. So the features of prokes are that they have nucleoids, they have ribosomes, they have cell membranes, they have flagella, they have pili, they have cell wall, they have capsules. And we're going to go into more further detail on that further along. So what's the difference between eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells? I mean, they seem the same to me. When you put prokes versus euks, prokes are a lot smaller in size. They often live life as single-celled organisms. They do have a tougher outer coat called a cell wall. That's something that the euks don't have. And beneath the cell wall, they have plasma and membrane. And enclosed is a cytoplasmic compartment that contains all the stuff that the proke needs. So inside the prokaryote, it has a nucleoid. And what nucleoid is just naked DNA. And the DNA is in a circular chromosome. And the prokaryote has flagella. The flagella is kind of like a long tail that helps it move. It has ribosomes. Ribosomes are very important for protein synthesis. So it has ribosomes in it as well as the nucleoid. It has a cell wall. It's inside the cell wall is the plasma membrane. So we've talked about prokes, but now we can talk about eukaryotes. So when we go into the very basic definition of eukaryotes, it's a Greek word where eu means truly and karyon means kernel or nucleus, means a true nucleus. So eu means truly and karyon means kernel. And the nucleus is a separate internal compartment where the DNA is stored. Compared to nucleoids, it's a separate thing. It doesn't take up the whole place like the nucleoid does. It's a separate internal compartment where the DNA is stored. So most often we live life as single-cell organisms, protists, but also we form multicellular organisms. So the differences with prokaryotes, eukaryotes are a lot bigger in size. They have a cytoskeleton, an internal network of fibers. They have membrane-bound intercellular organelles. Now, this is something that we're going to go into much detail about. Eukaryotes have membrane-bound intercellular organelles. They have cellular compartments filled with organelles in it. It also has a cytoskeleton, and the cytoskeleton is basically internal network of fibers, and it's much bigger in size. So what are some examples of eukaryotes? Protists. Protists are the only known single-celled eukaryotes. Don't forget that. Protists are the only known single-celled eukaryotes. Other than that, we have fungi, we have plants, we have yeast, and then we have mammalian, which is us, human beings and animals. So yeah, but that's pretty much it. I'm trying not to make these videos too long. Another thing is the typical organisms. Prokaryotes are bacteria and archaea, and eukaryotes are protists, fungi, plants, and animals. The smallest is protists. Always remember that. Protists are the only single-cell eukaryotes. So prokaryotes have a nucleoid. They don't have any real nucleus. And eukaryotes have a real nucleus with a double membrane. Their DNA in prokaryotes is circular. The DNA in eukaryotes is linear. It's chromosomes with histone proteins. The RNA protein synthesis is inside the cytoplasm. The RNA synthesis is inside the nucleus. Protein synthesis is inside the cytoplasm. A lot less ribosomes are in procs than there are in eucs. There's not much of a cytoskeletal structure inside prokaryotes. There's highly structured endomembranes and a cytoskeleton structure in eukaryotes. There's flagella in procs. There's also flagella in eucs, but in eucs there's cilia. So that's one thing to know. Mitochondria, there is no mitochondria in procs. And then there's the mitochondria in eucs. There's no chloroplast in procs. There's chloroplast in algae and plant cells. Usually single cell organization is in prokaryotes. There's single cell colonies, higher multicellular organisms with specialized colonies for eucs. And finally, with cell division, there's binary fission for procs, and then mitosis and meiosis obviously for eucs to divide cells. That's pretty much it for the first lecture, and we'll start on the next one pretty soon.